The last 6 months, more and more people are getting into bodyweight training, aka calisthenics. Now, even though the reason behind this is not that great, it's due to the coronavirus, people not having access to gyms and all that. But still, it is cool that more and more people are realizing that you can get in pretty good shape just by training with your own bodyweight. And personally, I would say you can learn how to get in the best shape of your life if you learn how to train properly with bodyweight exercises. You don't need anything fancy, anything special, a pull-up bar, maybe a dip station, or you can combine both of these into one tool, which for me is the gymnastic rings. You can use these to do your pull-ups, your inverted rows, your dips. But nonetheless, you can train and you can get in great shape just by using your own bodyweight. You don't need a gym membership, you don't need heavy weights, you don't need anything of that, because let's face it, people were in great shape even before you had big corporate shiny gyms, right? Look at the ancient Greeks, look at the ancient Roman statues, and just go to the past, go in the past and look how people had amazing bodies. So I think we can all agree on that it is possible to get in great shape just by using your own bodyweight. But I was also thinking, what were the biggest mistakes that I did when I first got started, and how can I help newbies, calisthenic newbies, avoid these? And that's the reason I made this video. I know the title is a bit edgy. I don't mean to sound as someone who is like a hater of calisthenics, but just listen to me, hear my points, and decide for yourself. So I got started in 2013 with calisthenics after being completely out of shape for years, being actually in the worst shape of my life. And in the beginning, I got started with some basic strength training, some push-ups, some pull-ups, which was great. I started gaining strength. I didn't even have a pull-up bar back then. I did my pull-ups on a door frame. But soon enough, what caught my attention was the flashier part of calisthenics, which is what I call urban calisthenics, or the gymnastic aspect of calisthenics. All those moves you see people doing, muscle ups, levers, planches. That part of calisthenics was getting really popular back then in 2013, and it caught my eye, as I'm guessing it probably has caught your eye as well. So I thought to myself, I want to learn how to do muscle ups, I want to learn how to do front levers, back levers, and planches. So I started adding that to my workouts more and more. What I soon realized was that there was a catch to training that way, training like a gymnast when you're no longer 13 years old. I started noticing some joint aches, some problems, a lot of inner elbow pain from the front levers. And I just realized that these problems, these injuries were getting stubborn and more difficult to treat. So you can say that maybe I wasn't warming up properly, maybe I wasn't using the correct progressions. But living back then in the Netherlands, I got to know more people. You had more and more calisthenic communities growing here and there. So I started training with some of these people, made some really cool friends, had some good times training at the calisthenics parks. But I realized that a lot of these people were having the same problems. A lot of even youngsters, as young as 21 to 22, 23, were having these injuries. And the way they dealt with them, they would lay off training for a while until the pain subsided, and they would get back to training. So that was basically what I was doing. Sometimes I didn't even lay off the exercises. I didn't even decrease my training volume or intensity. I was just like too stubborn. I wanted to get the front lever, I remember. And I said to myself, I don't care about the elbow pain. I just want to get this move. And after that, I'll figure it out how I'm going to fix this problem. But when you are training in this way, when you're dealing with your injuries with this way, you're just creating chronic problems, chronic injuries that will come to haunt you in the future, especially if you're not a teenager anymore, if you're above 20, above 21, 22, 23. It's pretty sure that these are becoming chronic injuries. So there are some exercises I would say that you can still do when it comes to urban calisthenics. For example, Personally, I can do handstands without causing any problems to my joints. I still have to make sure I really condition my wrists well. But other than that, I've laid off from the rest of the exercises. Now, yeah, okay, if you had a gymnastics background when you were young and you could already do some of these things, and you know, when you were older, you got back to them and they came easier, you can probably train that way. But if you're someone with no gymnastics background, someone who just got started training with bodyweight exercises, you're maybe 27 as I was or bigger and you want to learn these moves, you're just flirting with injury. I'm not saying it's the case with everyone. Some people are blessed with amazing genetics, with really sturdy, like rugged joints that you can give them a pretty good beating and they will be intact. But if you are noticing these problems, if you're trying to do urban calisthenics and you're noticing these problems, make sure that you are not creating chronic injuries, problems that will stick to you in the future and make your workouts not that fun. So after that point, I decided that I had to reevaluate the reasons that I was training. I had to think about what am I seeking from my workouts? What are my goals? What do I want to get out of my workouts, out of training in general? And I wrote down 3 core values, which based on those, ever since, every time I create a workout plan, every time I create a blog post, a video, every time I write a book, I always take these 3 core values into consideration. So core value number 1, the main reason that I train is mental wellness. You know, although I got started with training to look good without a shirt, simply put, for the exterior benefits, what kept me training so long were the mental benefits. You know, I just love how I feel after training early in the day, doing my bodyweight workout plan, especially outdoors. I love how it clears my head, how it helps me calm down. It creates a state of euphoria that carries over through the rest of the day. Or if I train late at day, late in the afternoon, for example, I love how it decompresses me, how it, again, relieves me from pent-up stress from a whole day. So mental wellness, number 1 reason, and for most people, it will be the reason that will keep you training in the long run. It's the reason that will make exercise part of your lifestyle, because if you're only depending on the exterior benefits, at some point that will be a motive that won't be motivating enough. So mental wellness, you know, if you feel good in here, you can deal with most problems in life. Core value number 2 is physical wellness. Now, of course, mental wellness, important, but you also have to take care of your body. You have to be healthy physically in order to support a healthy mind, right? Now, this is a 3-fold value. I divide physical wellness in 3 different categories. Number 1 is body composition, number 2 is cardiovascular health, and number 3 is joint and connective tissue health. So starting with body composition, you need to have a healthy analogy of muscle and adipose tissue, that's fat, in order to be healthy. Studies on longevity show that most people who live to be 100 or more, most people who basically get really old and remain healthy are people that have a healthy analogy of muscle and fat. I'm not saying that everybody has to have a 6-pack in order to be healthy. This varies from person to person. Some people can be leaner and be healthy. Some people don't have to have an 8-pack to be healthy. They can be in pretty good shape just by having their 4-pack. But definitely important to not have an unhealthy amount of fat and to be lacking in muscle mass. Number 3 is cardiovascular health. Now, although your heart is it's a very important muscle, I think we can all agree to that, because if your heart stops pumping blood, you stop living. But because it's not a visible muscle, it's not a muscle you can flash at the beach, we don't often take it into consideration when we train. Now, a lot of people think that the only way to train your cardiovascular health is through endless hours of low intensity cardio, which, to be honest, I hate, I don't like. But there are different ways to train your cardiovascular health, your heart, to keep your heart healthy. And based on a lot of the latest research and meta-analysis, I'll link all these below. High intensity interval training, circuit training, sprints, things like that can be as good for your cardiovascular function as low intensity cardio, if not better, as some studies show. So this is why circuits and sprints have become a integral part of bodyweight muscle training workouts. I'm getting older, so I'm 35, and I have to start thinking about the old ticker in here. I make sure that I keep my heart functioning well by doing my circuits, doing my sprints, and you know, it's a way for me to train my heart that I don't despise. I just love circuits, I love sprints, but I hate low intensity cardio. So the third part of our second value, physical wellness, is joint and connective tissue health. Now, when you're young, you feel as if your joints, your connective tissues are indestructible, but as you get closer to 30, as you get over 30, as you get closer to 40, over 40, you realize that these structures are not as indestructible as you thought them to be. Slowly, you realize how important warm-up is, how important mobility drills are, how important stretching is, and this is why these three things, so proper warm-up, which for me always includes mobility drills, dynamic stretches, and after the workout also some passive stretching. You realize how important this is to keep your joint and connective tissues healthy. Taking care of these structures is investing in your future freedom and independence. It means that you'll be having less pain as you grow older. It means that you'll be able to move by yourself. You won't need crutches and all kinds of other helpful materials. And it means that you'll be able to move more and more as you grow older without needing the assistance of a nurse, of your son, of your kids, or whatever the case. And if that doesn't help, thinking so far away in the future, just think about pain. It's really sucky to wake up and have joint pain, every time you train. I'm pretty sure that people can attest that in the comment section. People who are older will tell you how important it is to take care of these structures. So make sure that you're always doing your mobility drills, you're always warming up properly, you're doing your stretching, and you're taking care of these sensitive structures which just become more and more sensitive as you grow older. So our third core value is discipline. Discipline is one of the most important key factors for success in life, for happiness. As a teenager, you might not pay that a lot of attention to it, but as you grow older, as you become an adult, you realize that not a lot of things are possible without discipline, because unfortunately, not everything that feels good is good for us. Sometimes we just have to do some things that are sucky in order to be happy in the long run. And sometimes we have to avoid doing things that feel good temporarily in order to be happy in the future. So one of the best ways to sharpen this tool, discipline, I found is working out. When you start your day with a workout, when you don't skip this part of the day, it creates a wave of discipline momentum that carries over to the rest of the day as well. When you start by doing the most important things in the beginning of the day, the most difficult things, the things that require the most motivation, everything after that sort of like snowballs. I call it the avalanche effect as well. I've called this in previous videos and books. So getting started with your workout early in the morning, I know it's not possible for everyone, but doing that first thing in the morning as early as possible, I found is one of the best ways to practice your discipline. And let's face it, not every day will be a day that you feel like working out. A lot of people, everyone basically has days that he doesn't feel like training, but I don't know everyone who ever did a workout and regretted it afterwards. just give it a try during the day that you're not feeling like training at all. Just go through the workout and see how great you feel afterwards if you've never experienced this. I've made a video on this, really helpful, some really practical tips on how to work out when you don't feel like it. I'm gonna link it above and in the top comment below. But working out, one of the best ways to sharpen your discipline, and I found that it's really helped me maintain discipline during really difficult parts of my life, during periods that things were really difficult. I knew that as long as I got my workout in early in the morning, I could handle everything that would come across my way during the rest of the day. So remember, I'm not saying that calisthenics are evil, are bad. As a matter of fact, I think they're pretty cool. I love seeing people doing them. But if you're not a teenager, if you don't have a gymnastics background, and if you're starting to notice joint aches and problems as you are practicing things such as gymnastic type of calisthenic exercises, think about it twice. Think about, what are your core values? Why are you training? What are you looking to gain from exercise? You know, are you looking for being able to do some cool things temporarily, or are you looking to make a more long-term investment for your physical health, your mental health, and all the things we talked about in today's video? So that was all. Until next time, keep on training.